So you remember, let's work on the paper. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is a little mini review. Simplify the following. Okay, if I have A on the outside of a set of parentheses, okay, I have to distribute 3A times A is what? 3A squared. Okay, and then A times 7 is plus 7A. This is a review. You should already know how to do this. Okay? That is simplified. Next problem, I have negative 2m times m squared gives me what? Negative 2m. Cubed. Okay, when you're multiplying variables, you add the exponents. Okay? So what's negative 2m times 6m? Okay, negative 12m squared. Negative 2m times negative 1 is negative 2m. Is it negative though? Positive 2m. Because the negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so let's look at the next example. 5xy parentheses x minus 2y. What number is in front of this x? 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. X times x is, then put y behind it because there's no y's to multiply it to. So what's 5 times negative 2? So minus 10. Is there an x to multiply? So you leave it as x. Y squared. Okay, so this is simplifying polynomials. Today we're going to be talking about factoring polynomials. That's basically going from this to this. So factoring is going backwards, kind of. Okay? So what is factoring? Factoring is the process of separating a polynomial back into a product. Okay? Polynomials. There's going to be some instances where we try to factor and we can't find anything that will factor. Okay? Those instances are polynomials that can't be factored are called prime. If you cannot find factors that will go into the polynomial, it is prime. There will be several ways to factor, and the approach that we take will depend on the polynomial itself. Today we're going to start with the greatest common factor of the polynomial. So greatest common factor is also known as GCF. Okay? GCF. I'm going to start off kind of dragging the problems out, and then we're going to slowly shorten stuff that we write. Okay? So for problem number 1, I have two terms, 3x and 12. I'm going to write 3, and I'm going to write 12. Okay? What are factors of 3? 1 and 3. Okay? What are factors of 12? Okay? What is the biggest number they have in common? 3. They both have a 3. So you're going to write 3. Okay? How many x's does this term have? So I'm going to have one x here. How many does this one have? 0. Okay? Do they have any x's in common? No. So I can't pull out an x. So because they only have a 3 in common, I write 3 parentheses. To figure out what goes inside the parentheses, you divide the first and last term by the number you pulled out. So what is 3 divided by 3? 1. X. There's nothing to divide x by, so it's just 1x. Plus, what's 12 divided by 3? 4. That's my answer. Okay? What does the instructions also tell us to do? Check your answer by redistributing. All it wants you to do is redistribute. What's 3 times x? What's 3 times 4? Did I get the exact same thing that I started with? That is how you know your answer is correct. So this is my answer. Yes. What? Are you talking about this? Okay. What I did was I found numbers that I can multiply to get 12. Okay? But is there a 6 over here? Once you get to this number, it stops. Okay? So how I did this, I had to find numbers. Let's use 6. Okay? What number will I know will go into 6 evenly? 1. 1 times what will give me 6? You see that, Jacob? 6. What's another number that will go into 6? What times 2 will give me 6? 3. Is there another one? I already said 1. Nope. So what I did was I just wrote them like this instead of side by side. So I can list them and see what's the biggest one they have in common. Does that make sense? So I just kind of rewrote it a different way. You can, but sometimes you can just pick them out without listing them. Like number 2. What number will go in both to 7 and 7? 7. That's the biggest one though, right? 1 will go into it, but what's the biggest one? 7. Did I have to write out all the factors to find that number? No. Okay? Do they have any variables in common or any letters? So what's 7y divided by 7? 1y or just y, doesn't matter. Negative 7 divided by 7? Negative what? That's my answer. Check it. 7 times y is 7 times negative 1 is? Is that what we started with? Yes, it is. Pass that over, please. You're welcome. All right, so let's look at 5 real quick. 5x plus 30y. What do they have in common? I'm on number 3. What do they have in common? 5. Okay. Do they have any variables in common? No. Nope. So what's 5x divided by 5? 1x. What's 30y divided by 5? Done. What's 5 times x? 5x. What's 5 times 6y? Is that what we started with? Done. All right, let's look at number 5. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hold your horses. with the 5 out front. Right here. What about number 5? What number do they have in common? You were right with 3. 6 won't go into 27. Shauna, what's 6a squared divided by 3? And pay attention. You shouldn't be talking to Giovanni. Okay, 6a squared divided by 3.
6a squared. It's going to be
2a squared. Okay, what's 27 divided by 3? 9. Questions over how we're getting these numbers? Alright, let's check it. 3 times 2 is 6a squared plus 27. Done. If you want to box it off, you can. Number 7. Okay, this is where we start moving into having same variables. Okay? Just looking at 21 and 3, what do they have in common? 21 and 3. Just looking at the numbers, what's the greatest common factor of 21 and 3? 3. Okay? This one has a CD, while this one just has a D. So if I have one C and one D, and this one just has a D, what do they have in common? They both have a D. So I'll pull out a D. Okay? Here again, you divide everything by 3D. So 21 divided by 3 is 7C. Because what's D divided by D? No. What's 3 divided by 3? 1. So what's D divided by D? 1. Okay? If I put 1, okay? Just for kicks and giggles, what's 7C times 1? 7C. So do I have to put 1? Nope. Nope. Okay, what's negative 3D divided by 3D? Negative 1. Okay, some people said D. But what did we say D divided by D is? No. 1. Okay, so if it's the same number, you just put 1. No. It'll be wrong. Because watch this, okay? Don't write this, guys. Do not write this. If I put a D here, okay? What's 3D times 1D? Negative 3D squared, correct? Is that what we wanted? No. So I have to put negative 1. And I just said don't write it. Alright, check it. 3 times 7 is 21 CD minus 3D. Is that what we had? Good to go. Alright. Number 9. Number 9. What do they have in common? 15. Okay, they have a 15 in common. How many A's do they have in common? Nope. They have 1 A in common. How many B's do they have in common?
1 B.
They have 1 B in common. Okay, so what's 15 divided by 15? A squared divided by A?
How did that 1 B in common?
Okay, A squared. A squared means A times A. B is just a B. Okay, AB, A, and a B. They have 1 A in common. So I wrote 1 A. They have 1 B in common. Yes.
Excuse the interruption. At the end of the period, I need to see China Cook, see India Jones, Shana Madison and Brooke Kilgore in the guidance office, please.
All right, will do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, see me? So it's just 15 AB. Correct. Had this been a square, you would have put square. But there's no square there. What? Are you talking about right here? We're fixing. Well, right here, when you divide by the 15 AB, A squared divided by A is A. So I wrote A. Minus 2 parentheses.
Can I put that 1 in front of that 8?
Yes, you can. You can put the 1 in front of the A.
Okay, let's see.
What about number 11? What does 11 have in common? So it's going to be what? A parentheses B minus 1.
So what's my word?
All right, going to the back. Going to the back.
Oh, now you get that.
It's just A parentheses B minus 1. Do what? What do you mean? Like, yes. All right, let's look at 13. All right, I have 18 and 48. What number will go into both? Here's a bigger number.
Oh.
Bigger.
6.
Yes. 6. How many A's do they have in common?
1.
1. How many B's do they have in common? How many C's do they have in common? No. How many's right here?
4.
There's 2 here. How many's right here? 3. So how many do they have in common? 2.
I just said that.
You said 1. You said 1. A squared means I have 2 A's. B is just 1 B. C squared, 2 C's. Okay? A, B, C, cubed. I have 1 A, 1 B, 3 C's. They have 1 A in common, 1 A. There's not another A over here, so I can't use this one. Okay? I have 1 B in common. That used up all the B's. It has 2 C's here, so I connect it to the 2 C's there. I don't use that C. You got it? I'm going to erase this because it's getting jumbly up with my rest of my problem. Okay. 18 divided by 6 is? A squared divided by A is? A. B divided by B is? No. 1. 1. Do I have to write 1?
No. Yeah, right 1.
Don't write 1. C squared divided by C squared is? Where did I get what from? What's C squared divided by C squared?
1.
1. Do I have to write it? No. Negative 48 divided by 6 is negative. Because I only have an A, B, C. The B's cancel out, and that should be a C squared. And the C's cancel out, but the A's don't. I had 1 left, so I have to write the 1. Shania, you see how I have A to the first here? That means it's A times A at top divided by an A. 1 set of the A's cancel out, so I'm left with 1. Okay, what's negative 48 divided by 6? A divided by A is? Do I write it? B divided by B is? C cubed divided by C squared is? C. So I have to write it. It probably doesn't help that there's a lot of people talking around you, so you can't concentrate. All right, number 15. What will go into both 5 and 13? 1, but does 1 count? Okay, what about x and y? Are they the same variable? So if it doesn't have any factors, it's called prime. 15 is prime. You just write prime. Don't just skip it. You got to tell me it's prime. If it will not factor, it is prime. Not odd, because 9 is odd, but 3 will go into it.
13 is the prime number.
13. I don't remember all of them.
13 is prime.
Mhm. Yep. I'd have to think about it. 7 is prime. 17 is prime. All right, 6, 14, and 10. What's the biggest number that will go in all three? It's 2. How many how many y's do they have in common? 2. Okay. 6 divided by 2 is y to the 4th divided by y squared is y squared. What's 14 divided by 2? Y. Is there an exponent there? What is it? But what's 3 minus 2? 1. Okay. What's 10 divided by 2? So it's going to be negative 5. And that's your answer. It just takes practice. That's all it is taking practice. Okay? The next set should be pretty easy. Okay? Let's look at 21. What's my number here? What about here? What about there? Does 1, 1, and 5 have greatest common factor other than 1? No. Okay? Do they all have an M? How many M's do they have in common? 1. How many M's do I have here? How many do I have here? How many do I have here? 1. So what is the smallest exponent? 1. Okay. How many N's do I have? Here. 1. How many N's do I have here? Here. What's the smallest exponent? M cubed divided by M is M. 3 minus 1 is? 3 minus 1 is 2. Yes, but that's not what you said to begin with. Okay, n to the first divided by n to the first is?
I didn't hear what you said.
N to the first divided by n to the first is? 1. Goodness gracious, guys. M squared divided by m is? M. N squared divided by n is? N plus 5. N divided by m is? Do I write it?
No.
What about n cubed divided by n? N. That's your answer. Okay. Let's recap. Okay? Let's recap. Rules for finding a greatest common factor of a polynomial. Okay, so these are the rules. We've already kind of went through them, so it shouldn't be anything new. The first thing you look at is the coefficients. Okay, you pick out what is the greatest number that will go into both of or all of the coefficients. 2 is a variable must be common as a GCF if that variable is in all of the terms. Okay? If a variable is common to all terms, you take out the one with the smallest exponent. So if you look back up here at number 21, our smallest exponent for n was 1, so I pulled out 1n. For m, it was 1 here, so I pulled out 1m. Okay, you just pull out the smallest exponent. Once you pull out what is common within all of them, you then divide all the terms by the GCF to get what is left in the parentheses. One thing I didn't mention, and I want to go back and mention, is for this problem, how many terms did I have? Terms means it's being broken up by a plus or minus. 3. I had 1, 2, 3. How many did I have in my parentheses? 3. What you start with is how many should end in your parentheses. Okay? How many you start with is how many you should have in your parentheses. Keep that in mind. Okay? The next thing I want to go back and look at is the next page. Mine didn't print right, so I'm just going to kind of copy it from our notes. Okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is the difference of squares. Okay? It's pretty simple if you just pay attention. Okay? First, it wants us to review some factoring. It gives us x plus 4 times x minus 4. And it says equal sign. Okay? You're going to use the full method or the distribution, however you want to call it, it's the same thing. Okay? First, it's x times x. What's x times x? X squared. What's x times negative 4? So outside. Inside is 4 times x. So plus 4x. And then 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. So that's the last. Okay? What's your next step? Combine like terms. My like terms being the ones in the middle. They cancel out because negative 4x plus 4x equals 0. So I'm left with x squared minus 16. Okay, 5x plus 1. My next example is 5x plus 1 and 5x minus 1. Okay, but first, I'm going to change colors. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. Because x times x is x squared. Okay, 5x times negative 1 is negative 5x. 1 times 5x is 5x. And then 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Okay? Combine like terms. What does the middle do again? They cross out. They cancel out. So I'm left with 25x squared minus 1. This kind of looks like a pattern. Okay? 2a plus 3b. And then 2a minus 3b. Where did I get one from?
It's on the next page.
What's your packet over? Yeah. So you need to catch up. These are the review at the top of the paper. Oh. Okay. So what's 2a times 2a? 4a squared. 2a times negative 3b is negative 6. AB. 3b times 2a is 6. AB. And then 3b times negative 3b is? No. Negative 9. Because 3 times 3 is 9. B squared. What happens with the middle? They cancel out. 4a squared minus 9b squared. This is a pattern. Okay? It's called a difference of squares. Okay? Meaning that when I factor, my middles automatically cancel out, so I'm left with two numbers on the ends. Okay? There's a rule for this. To factor a difference of squares using the following rule. Okay? Now we're fixing to learn how to go from this to the factors. If they give us a squared minus b squared, okay? Meaning a squared is a perfect square and b squared is a perfect square. Difference means subtract. Okay, so it has to be subtraction. All the time. Must be subtraction. You get two sets of parentheses with opposite signs in the middle. It doesn't matter if it's a plus minus or a minus plus. Okay? Ask yourself. This is going to help. What number do I square to get a squared? What letter do I square to get a squared? A. It's not 2a's because 2a squared. But you said 2a for my answer here. That's 4a squared. Okay? What number do I square to get b squared? B goes in back. Okay, so let's look at an example. Our example says a squared minus 4. This is problem 1. Okay, it's a difference of squares. I'm about to take some cell phones. It is a difference of squares. When you have a difference of squares, you can automatically write these parentheses. Two parentheses with opposite signs in the middle. Notice how this time I did a minus plus. It doesn't matter what order you put the plus or minus, just put them in there. What number or what letter do I square to get a squared? A goes in front. What number do I square to get 4? 2 goes in back. That's your answer. That's it. That's all you do. That's it. Good. I'm glad it's easy. Let's look at another example. 81 minus x squared. We've already answered this one. We're getting there. We're getting there. 81 minus x squared. Opposite signs in the middle. What number do I square to get 81? So 9 goes in front. What letter do I square to get x squared? X goes in back. Okay? If, I just want to throw this out there, if they give you a problem that looks like this, rewrite it to where the negative is in back. That's the only way this works, is if the negative is in back. So you rewrite it as 81 minus x squared. Okay? So number 5. Number 5. K squared plus 25. What do I write? Wrong.
What? You gotta flip it. Oh, they ain't right there. Flip it.
But if I flip it, it's going to be 25 plus k squared.
Wrong. Oh, so you
It is a difference of squares. Do I have a difference here?
No, it's a check.
So I can't use difference of squares. Do I have a greatest common factor?
It's a plus.
Exactly.
You didn't show us that two plus. It's for a negative or something. Addition.
Let's change it all to.
Is there a factor that I can find to go in this problem? 5 will not go into k squared.
Oh, no.
So it's what? Prime. I showed you how to do this one. I told you about prime numbers. Prime. 9b squared minus 100. Okay. 2 sets of parentheses. Plus and minus in the middle. What number do I square to get 9? 3 goes in front. Come out where? It doesn't matter. Because think of it this way. If I had negative 2 times 3, what's my answer?
It's 3B.
What's negative 2 times 3? What's negative 2 times 3? What's 3 times negative 2? Same answer either way I multiply, correct? So it doesn't matter where the negative and positive go. Okay? What do I multiply, or what do I square to get b squared? B still goes in front. If it's in front here, it goes in front here. Okay? What number do I square to get 100? No. 50 times 2 is 100, but we're multiplying. So what number do I multiply by itself to get 100? So 10 goes in back. Eleven. 4h squared minus 25 g squared. Difference of squares, 2 sets of parentheses, plus or minus in the middle. Okay? What number do I square to get 4? H squared. 2h goes in front. 5g in back. Done. Let's look at 17. 17. I got k to the 6 minus 16. 2 parentheses, plus or minus in front, or in the middle. Okay? What do I... Guys. Okay? What does my exponent to k have to be to get 6? I'm on 17.
Oh, I was like 3.
3. So k cubed goes in front. Remember, when you're squaring a number or squaring a variable, you multiply the exponents. So 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? What about 16? What number do I square 16? Or square to get 16? 4 goes in back. Alright. I'm going to skip down to the multiplying or multi-step factoring. Multi-step factoring. This is where we're going to combine difference of squares and greatest common factor. Okay. What is the biggest number that will go into 24 and 54? Not 4. 6. Do they have any variables in common? Nope. So what's 24 divided by 6? I didn't hear you. 4a squared. What's 54 divided by 6? 9b squared. Okay. That was step 1. It's a multi-step, so that means I have more than one step. Is 4 a perfect square? Is a squared a perfect square? Is 9 b squared? So you have a difference of squares. So I'm going to have my two sets of parentheses with plus or minus in the middle. Okay? What number can I square to get 4? 2 goes in front. What about a squared? A goes in front. 9. B. Okay. If you just give me this, you will not get full credit. Because what did I forget? You do not drop off the 6. The 6 has to stay. Okay? The 6 must stay. Okay? I will do one more example. Pick one. First number right here is the first one I do.
33.
I heard 33. What did you say though?
I said 9.
You were just kidding?
Yeah.
Okay. 33. 80 into the fourth minus 125 in squared. What number will go in both into 80 and 125? 5. How many n's do they have in common? So n squared. 80 divided by 5 is? 16. Into the minus what? Uh-huh. You multiplied. Do I write an n? Mm-mm. My n's cancel out. It's 16 n squared minus 25. Is that a difference of squares? Mm-hmm. Because 16 is a perfect square. What do I multiply or square to get 16? 4n. 4n minus. What about 25? 5. What goes in front? Alright, your homework is to do problems 21 through 34 on this page. I don't care about the other ones that we skipped. It's problems 21 through 34 on this page. I want you to upload take a picture of it when you finish and put it on Google Classroom. There's an assignment there that says GCF and difference of squares homework or something like that. It's the very first assignment that should pop up when you pull up your Google Classroom. Okay? So problems 21 through 34, that's 12 problems minus the 2 that I just did, so 10 problems. That's your homework. 10 problems. Okay?